ready to start. A couple more are going to take a seat back there. Then I will call the meeting of the Smith Ranch Home Board of Directors July meeting to order. First of all, I want to introduce one more time, and I'm sure she's been introduced enough, is Daria Carrillo. Daria is our new finance manager, and we're very, very happy to have her on board. She spent this morning with a lot of rhetoric around a board of directors meeting this morning, so I hope she'll be back tomorrow. We'll start with the consent agenda, and Tom Bertelson will handle that for us.
Thank you, Glenn. Consent agenda consists of 3 items having to do with the minutes of our executive session of June 24 and the open session, as well as a special emergency session. And let me cover those areas for the special emergency. It occurred on July 2, and it was a response to the water damage due to the fireplace sprinkler system. And we approved as a board the retaining of Restoration Management Company to come in immediately and provided $75,000 is our initial assessment of what it would cost for just the damage control. It turned out that the total invoice was $107. That we felt was quite reasonable compared to our experience a year and a half ago when the villas were impacted, and we hired a firm called Critical Controls. Let's just say we decided not to use them again. They were expensive, and as you may recall, we had to go back to them on their invoice and get some corrections. Anyway, Restoration Management did a great job, and we did learn one thing in the villa issue, and that is buy dehumidifiers and not rely upon emergency management companies to provide them, monitor them at an enormous markup. So we bought them at the time, and we used them in this case, and it saved us, I couldn't quantify it, but a fair amount of money. So with that, I would ask that the board approve the consent agenda.
Is that a motion?
It is.
And do I get a second?
I'll second.
Moved and second that we accept the consent agenda as recited. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I need to make a correction to one of the
Oh,
minutes.
correction to one of the minutes. Okay, Dean has found a correction that I forgot.
On page 53, the board meeting, it's listed as May 27th, but it was really June 24th.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay. All in favor of accepting the consent agenda as corrected?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. The treasurer's report then, Gary's gonna take us through where we stand financially.
Tom, did you mention about the duty to inspect it?
No, I did not.
Go ahead.
Duty to inspect, yeah.
As part of the agenda item, I neglected to include the duty to inspect, which was provided by Gary last time.
Okay?
Okay, can you hear me? So, can we back up one slide? Just want to make sure you all know what we're talking about here. The monthly treasurer's report. So let's start with the reconstruction project, the Ville water damage project. You may recall, I'm sure, total of 4.2 million in special assessment was allocated. And as of July 11th, we have $1,218,000 left in that account. And we're getting close to the finish line. The villas that had to be moved out of, the people are back there now in their villas, and we have some remaining drainage and landscaping projects still to do, and we still have the repair work we need for the garage to get the water intrusion fixed there. But other than that, we're pretty much down to the home stretch. So I can pretty much assure you we're not going to need another special assessment. Okay, cash flow. So this takes us from January 1st to June 30th. January 31st at the top, June 30th at the bottom. And you look at that large number down there and you say, wow, what happened? Well, if you subtract the ERC payment we got from the federal government of $1,243,000, our net operating cash flow for the first 6 months were positive $127,849. So the good news is that's a positive, and it also reflects the fact that our budget is pretty accurate. You look at the middle column, that's the reserves. As of January 1st, our reserve balance was 2.4 million. And we have a monthly contribution from our regular assessment to reserves every month. So that has actually increased to 2.6 million on June 30th. However, I want to point out that as usual, it takes a while to get projects going. So you have you have to go out for bids and get approvals and all that. So we've got most of the year still to go in terms of projects for this year. So if you add up the things that haven't been done yet this year, that would put our reserve balance down to about $1.5 million, which is the threshold that we want to keep it at. So the reconstruction expense, you can see we are down to about half of what we started with, and we'll see how we go over the rest of the year, but that was also looking very good from a financial standpoint. So in the revenue, for June, revenue 769,000, very close to budget. Expenses 785,000, very close to budget. And you'll see that down here at the bottom, a negative of $5,600, which is essentially on budget, just 3% over budget. The only item significance here, 21,000 for maintenance, and that's a timing issue. We had a couple projects come in that were not budgeted for that particular month. So that's going to work itself out through the rest of the year. So it looks like we're on budget and pretty much going to stay on budget for the rest of the year. Ooh. I don't know where the pale peak came from. Go ahead. No, we're at the dining services, I'm sorry. Dining services, also very close to budget. You can see the net revenue very close to budget, and we're using a budget number of 300 residents, and in June we had 303. Year-to-date we had 301. So it's always good to have more residents because we can divide the cost into with one more person. So the net revenue for dining is negative 8,195. Can you all see that down there? And for the year to date, we're at a little bit under budget in terms of where we should be this time of year. So if you look at the two combined, there we go. Operations, 16,000 below budget. Dining services, 8,000 below budget. Total for the month, 24,000 below budget, which is still a very small number compared to the size of the budget. So then if you look at their combined, now what we're looking at here is a little bit different. This is looking at the whole 6 months in one chart. So you'll see starting up there with January, February, March, April down, you'll see the number there, that represents the net revenue for that month. You can see we started off in January, very positive, 202,000, and it's been pretty much very close to budget since then, a little bit negative, but year to date, we're in good shape. 190,000 positive to budget year to date. If you exclude the REC money, so if you were to actually look at our balance sheet, if you look at our cash statement at the end of the month, you would see a surprisingly large number there. You would see about $1.4 million in cash. But I wanted to show you just what we're doing just from operations and not taking that into account for that purpose. So we still haven't, the board still hasn't addressed the issue of the what we're going to do with that cash. It's sitting right now in a bank account earning close to 4% interest, and we'll be back in touch with you later in the year when we finally address that issue. So finally, water damage. The clubhouse water damage. So as Tom mentioned, we've spent to date $107,000 on the cleanup. We're estimating the total expenses to be in the neighborhood of $190,000, maybe $200,000. And we have an insurance deductible of $100,000. So we know that we're going to have that cost no matter what. And that's assuming, of course, that the insurance company does compensate us for that. We haven't actually submitted the claim yet. We've put them on notice. They're aware of what happened, and they've had a preliminary adjuster come out. So they are aware of the situation, but we need to get a little bit more detail together on the expenses before we actually submit a claim. And we'll let you know as how that progresses. Okay, so are there any questions? Yes?
Obviously, what happened was that someone, and I don't know who that person was, affected the water flow in the first place. So are you pursuing them, that individual, who you must know who it is, are you pursuing them in any legal fashion?
Yes. So what happened was that there was a motorist going from Smith Ranch Road onto the freeway heading north. And as you can recall, if you go up that ramp, there's a drop off to the right. The car somehow or other got into that drop off, flipped over twice and crashed into the PG&E substation and shutting off the power momentarily. So we have asked for the police report on the incident, and we'll certainly take a look at pursuing that avenue as well. If the insurance company pays us, then it would be the insurance company then who would be responsible for subrogation against that individual. But one way or another, we're going to pursue that. Yeah. Anything else?
Gary, I have a question. Okay, I'm gonna put you on the spot. What are we gonna do with that 1.2 million left over from the $4.2 million assessment?
Well, we're not admitting there's going to be anything left over right now.
It sounded like you said we were pretty much done.
Yeah, well, we have the garage, which is going to be expensive. I believe I recall 400,000. Does that number sound right to you for the garage? So it's going to be a large number, yeah. And we still got a lot of drainage to clean out, and we have some landscaping, quite a bit of landscaping. Maybe in a month or so we'll have a much better idea than we do now.
Okay. Thank you, Gary.
Okay.
Now we have a reserve action for the guest room architectural services to hire an architect to help us to revamp the guest room C so that we can make it ADA or close to ADA compatible.
Excuse me. Before we do that, could you hand over both mine?
Okay, everybody's telling me I should have done something before that, which I did. We have an investment broker, Raymond James, a lady representative named Shannon Bennett, and she's been our representative for many years. She has been with Raymond James just for a few years, and we even changed brokers to be with Shannon because she's like a member of the Smith Ranch family. Well, it's time to renew the contract with Raymond James and with Shannon Bennett. And the Finance Committee met with her last week or so ago, and she presented this year's investment program. We are currently earning 4.2% on our ERC money and some of the other things that we've got invested with her. It's time to re-up the contract. And so Gary gave me a punch saying, hey, we got to do that. And so I will open up for a motion to renew the contract with Raymond James and Shannon Bennett.
I'll move that we renew the contract at a cost of annual fee of $4,800.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on that?
Just one comment. So this is a fixed fee. It's not a percentage, but I calculated based upon our current balance that it's about a 20 basis points charge per annum, which I think is reasonable.
Which is the $4,800.
That is correct.
Yeah. And that fee has been raised once. I was on the Finance Committee for 3 years, and now I've been on the board for 4 years, and it's been raised from $4,500 to $4,800 a couple of years ago. So we're getting a good deal there.
Not only that, but they don't charge a commission on any of the trades that they do for us.
So we got a good deal going. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. So can I now move on to the reserve action guest room? Dean's going to take us through that.
we've had a work group of Marianne Palevsky, representing the Condo Renovation Committee, and Dr. Jill Leverton, representing the Maintenance Committee. They have been working on wheelchair-friendly improvements and accessibility-friendly improvements in our guest rooms. We have hired an outside architectural firm to guide us through this improvement. And so they have come to us for, to continue the project, and these are reserve study funds. So in order to pay for the next scheduled phases of this project, they are asking for $21,940 from the reserve. So I move to approve $21,940 from the reserves to engage Daniel McDonald Architects to proceed with the next scheduled phases of the guest room project.
Okay, have a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Karen seconds. Any further discussion on that?
Is there anything, do you have any numbers for how much it would actually, the repair will be? This is just for the administration and design and all.
We do have numbers. I don't have those in front of me, but this is purely for the architect.
Yeah.
All right.
No, we don't have those numbers.
We have some estimates, don't we, Jack?
Yeah, there's a, I think it was somewhere around 100 or 120K in the reserves for it, you know, so.
Yeah, it's a reserve item.
Yes,
Go ahead and give him,
Do you have more to
I
say?
don't think everybody heard that too.
So there's a reserve item, and I don't know the number exactly, but as I recall, it was 100 or 120K there
Yeah,
to cover the cost.
Yeah.
So,
that does not include the architect fee.
I don't really know.
I think I'm right on that. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
yes.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. We have a wonderful art room by the maintenance building. I don't know how many of you have visited it, but it's a nice place for people to go and express their creative abilities on canvas. And it has about 15 active members. Am I right on that, Sarah? About 15. And Sarah has shown a lot of leadership in that over the years, and it's getting big enough that we feel like we need a little bit more organization to it. So we have a charter, and the charter has been submitted to the board to look at. And we also are assigning Monica Thomas as a staff liaison. We've never had a staff person operating in that art room. The staff person will be sort of a go-to person, is what I call it, for guidance or any support or any clarification that needs to, if people aren't in agreement in the art room of the 15 or so people. So it's to help organize the approach some. And I've had some positive feedback from some of their members that I've reached out to, that's a good thing to do. So Monica thank you, Monica, for stepping in on that. So we do have a charter, and I'd like to get a motion that we accept the charter. I think there's some discussion on the charter, but let's get a motion in a second first.
I move that we accept the charter. I do have some amendments, so I don't know the order we should be doing things.
Okay. Do I have a second that we accept the charter?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Now discussion. I know that Dean, you had a thing or two, and so did
Yes, and I
Karen.
did incorporate Dean's in. We did look at the charter that was presented to us by management this morning, and it really is fine. It parallels other volunteer group charters. The thing that I would like to consider us adding is a statement actually defining the service. And I did write this up, I don't know if I could just read it. The service to be provided is an art room with assigned spaces for residents to work on creative projects. Supplies are to be provided by individual users. And Dean had recommended, as she looked at the proposed charter, there were two sentences that were very similar. So my recommendation is to combine number 5 under organization and number 1 under additional specifics to read each volunteer group, let me try it again. The volunteer group shall develop a steering committee comprised of a leader, a vice leader, and a secretary who will develop, post, and enforce art room guidelines related to usage, availability, storage, organization, and timing. And then also under additional services, under additional specifics, just to add that members should be aware that the area is near staff offices and respect the quiet needed for a work area. And I would propose that we be open to letting Scott massage those words a little bit. But with those 3 changes, I would absolutely support the new charter.
Dean, you had a change?
No, Karen has incorporated,
Oh, okay.
and as one of the authors of this charter, I approve.
Well, let's take a vote. All in favor of the accepting the charter as proposed with the corrections proposed, say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, the motion is carried. I will say that this charter will be sent to at least the 15 people that we have on record as being participants in the art room, so that they can understand exactly what to be done. Now we have clubhouse water damage. Tom, you're going to take us through that.
Yes. There are 3 areas I'd like to cover. One is the flooring that's going to be installed. Number 2 is whether we should seek reimbursement under our property insurance. And number 3, how are we going to professionally evaluate how this never occurs again? As to remaining replacement work is minor, floorboarding, et cetera, that you're seeing exposed. And we've authorized the restoration management company to proceed with that. It's a nominal cost. So the question we had before us as a board this morning was, what should we do? This entire building will be redecorated, if that's the right word, in about 7 or 8 years. So the carpeting that would have been replaced. And so we have a time frame of around 8 years. So what to do with the flooring? Some have suggested that the Jackson Pollock approach, this laminated, would be attractive, which I think I agree with. But when we speak to professional people, including our architect, they're very concerned about an exposed laminated flooring, given the age profile and the chances of our falling onto a concrete slab. So then the choices come down to either tiles, I don't mean in ceramic tiles, but as you know, carpet tiles, which are less expensive and can easily be removed and replaced if stained. That's the advantage. Or do we go and replace the carpeting with a different fabric? The original is not available, it's just been terminated. So the board felt that from an aesthetic perspective, it would be far better carpeting throughout the second floor where it had been. So it's around the fireplace, clearly, Fred's office and the receptionist and the bathrooms on the other side. So that's all would be redone with carpeting that generally would be in stock. We don't have the time or luxury of having something specially made for us. We would retain a designer. In fact, the designer who did the work initially is still working, and we're hoping to get her to advise us in the sense that it would be management, the architectural committee, to come up with a proposal for its replacement. The second is the insurance issue, and our broker candidly said she would not advise seeking reimbursement. Our legal counsel had a different view, and I'll give you his summation, 2 sentences. As the carrier is already on notice, and it is clear that the claim will be close to double the amount of the deductible, it's $100,000. My guidance would be to pursue the claim with the carrier, and the carrier worry about the nuances of potential third-party liability. Hopefully, they would retain appropriate experts to evaluate the reason for the sprinklers being triggered, that would determine if there is a viable claim against a third party. So the board, in its initial discussion this morning, chose to go with Dave Feingold, our legal counsel of long standing, who worked us through the problem a year and a half ago, just to go with his knowledge and also some experience that Cliff Shuroy was able to provide. So I would move that Smith Ranch proceed in seeking a claim against our insurance company for the damage done. And as Gary indicated, we think that total damage is around $200,000, $190,000, $200,000. So that's, I move that.
Okay, what's your motion?
I move that we go and provide, ask for a claim against our insurance company for the damage.
Do I have a second on that?
I'll second.
Okay, moved and seconded. Discussion. No discussion
Well,
on that?
no, let me just say, I want just to give you the insurance broker's point of view. We've had trouble in the past getting insurance coverage for water damage. We had, a few years ago, we had extensive water damage in the villas. You may recall the sprinkler system in the attics of the villas wasn't using the right material, and when it got too hot, it expanded and burst, and we had extensive damage in many of the villas. Well, that was a very expensive proposition. We've had the water damage to the villas that we're just working through right now with regard to the seepage from below. So, a couple of years ago, the insurance company actually was going to cancel us. We talked them into us renewing, but they did raise the deductible from, I believe it was $10,000 to $100,000 for water damage. That's not for fire or anything else, just water damage. So that's where we are now. Now, there is a risk that with this claim, when it go up for renewal, which is actually not until next March, we could be canceled, or there could be a significant increase in premium. But there's been a strong feeling on management and our part that why do we pay hundreds of thousands of dollars every year for insurance if we never file a claim? So that's kind of where we are right now. If we were $130,000, $120,000 was the total cost, we wouldn't file a claim. But for $200,000, we feel we should. That's kind of our feeling on it.
Any other discussion? Okay, let's take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried.
Glenn, I have one third comment on the damage. And that is, we did discuss, how are we going to avoid this problem in the future? And Jack Home has drafted, a 3-page proposal, for the maintenance committee and for Scott as to how third parties could come in and help us evaluate a series of systems that we have. And also, we probably ask our insurance company for their risk management people to come in and also give us an assessment. So that is a work in progress. The full maintenance committee has not had time to digest and discuss that recommendation. Scott, I know, has made, according to Jack, has made some suggested changes to his proposal. So I'm very enthusiastic that this is a constructive, proactive way to proceed. That's all my report.
Okay.
I would just like to add, Tom talked about several things, and the motion had to do with the insurance. But he also touched on the replacement of the carpet. And while there was no motion regarding that, I thought I could fill that in. The board did decide that we would, well, there were 2 options suggested. One was carpet tile, and the other was, you know, the usual carpet that is like what we had there before. And the board made the decision to reject the carpet tile. And we had done a little research on that and had a lot of good reasons for doing that. And what we want is to try to replace like for like, which is our term here, so that we have the same look as we had before. It's going to be tricky to get a new lovely carpet that will go with the current furniture. And we need it to last for 7 or 8 years, at which time we will redo this building with all new carpet and furniture and so forth. So we're hoping that Diana from the Smith Group, which did this building in 2017, about 8 years ago, would be willing to come back and help us source a carpet that will go with the design that she did those 8 years ago, so that we have a good look between now and when we redo that area. So we're hoping to go for a lovely carpet that will continue the look that we have come to like for our main lobby. And so if Diana is able to source some carpet, then it will go to the architectural committee with some samples, and they will make the final approval.
I should add that Glenn asked Dean if she would coordinate all of that. She said yes.
I said, we need somebody that really has a good eye and somebody that really knows about this kind of thing and had experience with the architect committee. That sounds like you, Dean. So Dean has now accepted the...
I didn't have a choice.
Okay, I think we've already voted on this, and so we have another part of that, and Gary's going to take us through that.
There was one thing that the board was didn't need any further consulting on, and that is having to do with our risks of a major event, a major disaster here at Smith Ranch. We haven't finished the earthquake study yet, but we've far enough along with that to know that we're pretty well constructed and not likely to have a catastrophic earthquake damage here unless buildings catch fire, in which case you would have a catastrophic result. Or if buildings caught fire because of a wildfire up the hill or whatever. So there's one area that doesn't need any study to determine its value, and that is we need an automatic seismic shutoff for our main gas valve into Smith Ranch homes. Because if there's an earthquake, for example, it's very possible that that could rupture a gas line, and then the spark could set that off, and that would be the disaster we're working to avoid. So I would propose a resolution to the board that the board direct management to get quotes for an automatic shut-off gas valve for Smith Ranch at earliest convenience.
Okay. The motion is that we get quotes for the automatic shut-off valve. Here a second. Karen second. Any further discussion on that one? All we're doing here is just directing management to get the quotes. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. Now Gary's going to take us through our emergency call system. As we all know, it's been antiquated. The wiring is gone. It's probably 35 years old. And Gary's going to take us through a little bit of an update of what we're working with on the ECS system.
The ECS committee, or task force, was formed to see what we should do about the, excuse me, the red buttons or on-off switches in everybody's apartment. The task force has come back with their proposal after spending a lot of time and effort regarding this, and their proposal was that we do not replace the existing system. The system is out of date. It would be horrifically expensive to try to replace all that wiring to reconstruct what we had initially. And our understanding, not having actually been here, but from what we hear, is that when Smith Ranch was built, it was initially contemplated that there would be an assisted living wing or area. That was eventually dropped from the plan, but that's one reason why these red switches were put in the first place. But as independent living, we don't see any other unit or project around the Bay Area that we've talked to that use this system or anything like it. And the ARC committee recommended that if people want to have emergency contact with emergency personnel, there are plenty of devices out there right now that can do that for them relatively inexpensively. And you can have it on your watch, you can have a pendant or whatever. And that we also spoke with the legal counsel, and the fact that this was part of what we advertised for Smith Ranch for a number of years doesn't mean that the board, using good judgment, can't change the rules with regard to that. And so based on that, we're coming to the point where we will need to vote on whether to continue or discontinue the red switch system.
Okay, any discussion? Well, I better get a motion first. Do I hear a motion to that effect, that we discontinue the ECS.
I'll move that.
All right, and I'll second.
Moved and second. Discussion. Hearing no discussion, I'll ask for, anybody have any questions or anything? Everybody seems to be okay with it, so let's move ahead. All in favor of discontinuing the ECS system at Smith Ranch Homes? Answer aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion is carried. I'm now going to take you through our illustrious general managers in Tamarindo, Costa Rica right now with his family, lying on the beach, drinking his beer, and he's asked me to do the general manager report. Well, I'm just going to highlight it, is what I'm going to do. So, there's the Finance Committee is working hard on the budgets. Our budgets are due at the end of October, is that correct, Cliff? And their meetings are going from 1 o'clock to 5 to 5:30, right, David? And I commend all of the members of the Finance Committee. I couldn't stand the whole thing last week, so I bailed out on it toward the end. But there's a lot of things going on with the Finance Committee right now besides budgets, but that's a very time-consuming project. So they're working on that. Dining services, there's a kitchen tour. The kitchen tour originally scheduled earlier this month was unfortunately canceled due to an unforeseen incident involving water loss in the clubhouse. So I thought I'd bring that one to mind. Reminder of the dress code. This is a friendly reminder that t-shirts, baseball caps, and blue jeans are not permitted in the clubhouse dining room during regular hours. When inviting guests, please inform them. Okay, this is a biggie right here. Wine bottle deliveries. Please ensure that your wine bottles that you're bringing for the storage properly labeled. And also that they should only be made from 2:30 to 4 in the afternoon. That's big stuff. Housekeeping, I won't go through all of their things, but they're doing a great job. And resident services, Monica Thomas. I met with the Finance Committee to present the first draft of her budget, and it was well received. July the 30th, we will be holding a reception to celebrate this year's scholarship recipients, and Marcy's going to talk to us about that in a minute. And July 31st, we'll have another dance class with Beth Zimmershall. So followed by the annual dog parade. Enjoy a root beer float with the pups of Smith Ranch Homes on the house. Okay, and I think that's pretty much
So that,
what did I
The
leave?
flu shots.
Flu shots, did I leave that out? Oh, when are they? Maybe you,
The flu shots are scheduled for October 9th.
it's not in my list of general manager comments.
maybe you could call on Charlene Harvey to give a notice of an event coming up before too long.
I don't think Charlene's here, I haven't seen. Okay,
I'm her
Charlene.
right to Mrs. Harvey.
Charlene, okay.
Well, I think you've all seen the new patio. I hope you're all enjoying it. People have been really pleased. I'm very, very excited that the Enhancement Committee has been able to to do this for the community. We are going to have a little celebration next Tuesday, August 5th from 4 to 5, just to say thank you to our many wonderful donors and just give it a little oomph and launch. But I hope you'll just all start enjoying it because we're very excited to have it finished and available for you. Thanks, Glenn.
Thank you.
Okay, Marcy? You're here? You want to come on up? Marcy's got a very important announcement.
I know that we're really good about remembering things in about 24 hours. So less than 24, no, just exactly 24 hours from now will be a reception, and it will be for the students who are children or otherwise, or employees of here. And it's for those who are receiving scholarships this year. And they want to thank you because you're the ones that finance these scholarships. So it's a really uplifting, I think this will be my third one, and it's one of the high points to me of being here at Smith Ranch, that we're giving back to our employees and their children, and also we're coming out ahead for the whole thing too. So it's tomorrow, and you can't have missed this, and you can't have missed their pictures. They will tell you that this is the first year that I've been here where they will speak and tell you about what they're doing and how exciting it is. And then please not only come and enjoy and have the champagne and all that, but also stay after and talk to them and their families. Okay. So 3 to 4:30 tomorrow.
Thank you, Marcy. This is very important, very uplifting to see these kids going off to college, and they are the sons and daughters of our employees, the cooks, you all know Francisco. Well, Francisco's son is in that group. So we've got a really great group of kids whose parents work at Smith Ranch that are involved in this. And Isabel, stand up. Come on, Isabel. We're very proud of Isabel. She works here in the day and goes to school at night. So what a good thing. All right, now I'm going to open it up, unless the board has any other.
I think Karen, would you
Oh
like?
yeah, Karen, I wanted you to talk about North Star. I told you that earlier and now I forgot it. So.
Yeah, I got a half hour notice. I got it. I think last time we spoke, or we were together, I talked about the background of selecting the North Star software. You may have seen about a week and a half ago, we had a North Star representative here at Smith Ranch Homes, and we are at a stage now that we're continuing to tailor the software to our Smith Ranch Homes processes, and in addition, tailoring our Smith Ranch Homes processes to a wiser software. We totally acknowledge that we've been doing things the way we're doing them because it's worked for us so far. But I think what the software has been teaching us is that there might be a shorter, smarter way to do things. Certainly relying on a centralized resident database that all departments draw on will just be an absolute must for our processes. But the staff was absolutely wonderful. Each day a different department came in, we analyzed what they did. Now, Fatazia was here from North Star, and he did do a week of discovery calls, maybe about a month and a half ago, and so was able to show us what the system looks like with our data in it. So we had a first run of a resident database, a first run of our accounting numbers, and so staff got to play a little bit with the system with recognizable names. So, I'm looking at Nancy right now, but we'd have Nancy register for an event, or we'd have Nancy go to dinner that night and spend her countdown. So we'll probably do a full presentation in either at the August Town Hall or possibly September. We initially were looking for a September 1st launch date, but for a lot of different reasons, I think it's now going to be an October 1st launch date. But before that time, we have a user acceptance testing period that the staff will look at the software, make sure it works before we push that magic button. But we will have plenty of resident training classes and total question and answer period. We're not quite there yet, but I think it's going extremely well, and I just want to compliment staff on just their willingness to say, oh wow, this works, and and to be able to shift things around to make sure we're maximizing why we bought the software in the first place. So staff has just spent an incredible amount of time working on it. So I wanted to say thank you to staff.
Thank you, Karen. And Karen Verco has spent an incredible amount of volunteer time on this project, and we appreciate her so much. Again, I told her this morning it was above and beyond the call of duty. Okay, now I'll open forum. Anything you want to talk about, we want to be transparent in everything that we do, or almost everything that we do. So, Nancy Sakurai.
Do you have an update on when we'll be getting internet service in the garage?
Internet service in the garage. I don't know if we're even working on that, Nancy. If we are, I'm not a part of it. So.
Well, the letter I sent you after...
Yeah, I remember the letter, but I'm not sure we've taken any real action again. You might mention what you saw and what you wrote about.
Oh, well, what happened was there was a lady next to my car, and when I left, she was standing by her car with her walker like she was loading it up. I went shopping and I came back in an hour, and the door was open, her walker was there, and I thought, that's strange, so I got out of the car and looked in the car, and she was lying on the seat, and I didn't know whether she was alive or God, I didn't know. So I rushed in, told Kim, and I said, with all the new technology, why can't we get internet in the garage? That's my question.
Okay. Jack Holm wants to respond to that. It looks like.
Scott has had a person come in and they're looking at Wi-Fi service in the garage. I don't know how much it's gonna cost or anything, but I know they're looking into it. So there's progress is happening. So.
Thank you.
Yeah, I haven't been a part of that. Gail?
Yesterday I was out by the pergola and the brand new furniture, which looks beautiful. I have a couple questions. The pergola was purchased, I believe, to provide shade, and it was not shady. It was sunny shady under the pergola. And I don't know if there's a time of day when it is shady. I don't know whether they have plans to put something on top of the roof to take away the sun, because I thought the whole purpose of spending all that money was to have shade, and there is definitely not a shady area there. The other thing is the way the furniture is set up. It's like one big group setting. I mean, the furniture is gorgeous. It is very comfortable. It is very practical, but it's not really set up for like a couple people, 2 or 3, to sit and have a conversation in private. There's enough room that you could have a couple seatings. So maybe 2 or 3 people could be here, 2 or 3 people could be here, instead of one big area, and I was discussing it with a couple other residents, and we all came to that conclusion. It's not, like you can't move the furniture. You can move it any way you want. Maybe some under the pergola, maybe some out of the pergola, but I just wanted to know if they were working on that.
You want to say something, Gary?
Yeah, I asked about the shade. So the way that pergola works is that the beams above are wide, they're like 2x6 beams, and the distance between them and their width makes them act as shade for everything except when the sun is directly overhead. So if the sun is at an angle, the width of the beam actually provides shade. And I was in there and I found the shade to be perfectly reasonable. I don't remember what time of day it was, but it was probably not noon. So that's the one time, you could see it's not working too well. I also came away feeling like the area where the overstuffed furniture was could use some shade there too. And we're going to look at, I know that one of the ongoing projects is to look at what kind of umbrella type thing can we possibly use that's strong enough to resist the wind. So I think that's something we need to look at.
Just a second, Colette. I spoke to Charlene and Lila about this just prior to this meeting, about an hour ago. Charlene, you have anything you want to say about this? Maybe get the, and then Colette.
This is obviously a work in progress. We're gonna need to tweak it. One of the things that I just saw was Lila has got an absolutely sensational purchase of a big umbrella, which is now set up and open up at the pool. And I think that's exactly what we need over that furniture. And we've already purchased 3 of them. So I said to Lila, why can't we buy one? The enhancement committee will buy one from the maintenance department and put it down by our furniture. So we'll work on that and see if that works. Those 4 chairs around, they swivel, but they're not swiveling. So maintenance needs to unlock it or do something. And we can play with that. I think the idea that this is just gonna be that. This is the way we set it up, but I think use and how people want it, it's our living room. So however you want it or however we can tweak it, we will. So your suggestions are very, very welcome. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else on that subject? Aaron? Where's Aaron? You collared me a couple of days ago. I'm putting Aaron on the spot. I enjoy doing that with Aaron.
Thanks a lot. Are you still feeling okay, Glenn? No, I was concerned about the sun too, and my only other concern was, what are we doing about the wind? The wind is still coming, and that side isn't. So we're sitting out there, we're in the sun and the wind, and I thought we had that before we had the pergola. So I'm glad to hear what you say about the sun situation, probably around that. But on windy days, and we have a lot of wind out here.
Okay. Thank you, Aaron. I put you on the spot, but it's okay.
Since I've got the microphone, I have one other issue. But I'm perfectly happy with the idea we're getting rid of the red buttons and everything. Is there an option just to call 911? Is that what we put in?
We had to anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of different options, Aaron, and we pursued them. The ECS work group, which was a really good work group, looked at a lot of different things, and none of them seemed to fit Smith Ranch. Either they were too expensive or just didn't fit for us, but they might fit for individuals. So if somebody here wants to have their own ECS system, we've got options, right, Jack?
Yes.
Jack was on that committee, And we will provide that information gladly to you. Okay, Colette was next, Sandra.
I just want to refer back to the umbrellas and the patio furniture. Lila, Beck, and I have been together working really hard with Lynn's approval, Lynn Brown, head of the architectural committee's approval, on trying to find at least temporary solution for shade that doesn't cost thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars that we don't have at the moment. And so we chose this one, and there are 2 more backup, but I only wanted her to open one box so we could see how this one worked. Now I opened it in the morning at around 10:30. I was out there at 1. I was watching for the wind. I've asked Gladys to watch what the umbrella is doing in the winds, and she's nearby, and it's visible to her. And we'll see how it works. We have a couple of more weeks before the deadline to return them if they don't. But we are working hard on that, and we'll work with the enhancement committee, of course, for doing the same kind of umbrella, whatever that might be in the end, for the patio area as well.
Thank you. And Sandra Norbert.
Okay, going back to the ECSF.
Here, hold on, Mrs. Norbert.
Going back to the ECS update, does that mean that Smith Branch should read that they don't have any liability to provide something similar to that? Was that the decision?
According to our lawyers, we do not.
All right, thank you.
We inquired to see what our obligation was, and got too long a letter. Oh,
I have Mr. Leach back here.
Don Leach.
Yeah. You know, I play bocce ball. Everybody's welcome Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I'm going down that non-existent path. and I'm into this long grass. And sometimes I think I could almost surf down that side. How long is it going to take before we get a path? I thought it was a goal.
It's only been 2 years, Don. Dean, you want to respond to that?
No.
You were involved in it from a board point of view. I don't want to respond either, Don. I am so, I almost used the F word. So frustrated with that path. That path's going to cost us $24,000 plus 5,000 and 26,000 plus 5,000 for a consultant to tell us how to do it, and we still can't get it done. It's ridiculous, and don't get me started on that one, Don, would you?
As far as I know, the committees involved have come to a joint agreement of where it will be placed, and we're all set to go, and I don't know why nothing's happened. We passed it at the last board meeting. So,
Yeah, I concur. Candidly, I wrote an email a few weeks ago to Scott and said, here's how you do it. It's your execution, it's management, it's not ours anymore.
yeah. So the reason may be the water damage and Scott's vacation and just too many things stacked up. I don't know. Oh, Cliff, you know?
Scott's father's funeral service.
And Scott's father's funeral, and so hopefully when Scott gets back and gets caught up, we'll get that project going.
So ask the same question next month. Don, okay? David Berkowitz has something.
Gail and I were among about 38 other people that we went to the barbecue one Saturday night. And I had found out that there was a problem, because I wasn't here last year, but last year it seemed to be a problem because the barbecue was not working, didn't have any gas in it. And this year, the maintenance committee, the maintenance men used this. They took the new barbecue, and they brought the new barbecue and an older barbecue, but there was no gas for the older barbecue. There was no igniter for the new barbecue, and one of the burners was out. And I don't understand why, since it's ours, we paid for it, that we have to allow them to use it and have it in disrepair when we're ready to use it.
I don't know either, David. I'm sorry.
I don't wanna answer that one either.
That is not something that I've spent any time on, is the gas and the barbecue.
I
Yes,
understand that, but I don't understand why they're allowed to use it if in fact they, this is what they're doing, they're just throwing it at us. It's our property, and and when we're ready to use it, we want it in proper repair.
I see her, Sandra Norberg?
So Danielle is on it. She was really upset to hear what happened, and we can, after she talks to them, we can find out where we go from there.
That happened to a group of us, David, about 2 years ago. There's about 10 of us down there. We ended up taking our steaks up to Gary's unit and putting them in his oven. The same thing. And I still blame Win Black to this. I hope he's watching on 1981, because every time I walk by that grill, I say, Win, I wonder how much butane is in this, or gas is in here. Any other questions? Okay. Well, thank you all for coming.
One more question.
Oh,
Sorry.
we got one back here.
Yes,
Somebody's
I don't know,
waving.
I don't know how many people here live in 100, building 100, and I would like a count on who owns the dogs in 100. There is not a day that I walk from 100 to the clubhouse where I'm skipping over or around dog mess on the walkway.
It's turkey. It's turkey. A lot of it is turkey. The black, I call turkey. Yeah.
No, the big ones are not turkey.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. Please, everybody, if you have a dog, please pick up the waste. That's just
Dog walkers.
common courtesy.
Dog walkers.
It's-
The dog walkers or the dog people, whomever. Okay, any other, we'll take all complaints here. Thank you for coming. I now declare the meeting adjourned.